Everyone, I had a realization this Sunday, and it happened in the kitchen where I was cooking, and I realized without salt, no food is cooked and tastes nicer. And this I realized is applied to the professions. If I ask you what profession you are you a teacher, professor, engineer, doctor, consultant, trainer, coach, freelancer? Look at any profession you are in or at any level of organization you are functioning. You cannot separate your profession from sales. Now I understand that like two sides of a coin, our business and sales exist simultaneously. And in the absence of sales, we are not able to exist, sustain and even scale. So very simple, it is unavoidable. Now let's talk about what stops from becoming a great salesperson. Now the feeling that I have, or the learnings that I have acquired over the past 17 years now by being in multiple organizations and training close to 35,000 professionals so far, I realized that half of the world is working on transactional sales. Now what is a transactional sales? It's purely based on exchange of goods, money, and that's it. It's like walking up to the customer only to take a decision of yes or no through a lot of information, facts, figure, and the other testimonials that we have, and we throw it on the customer. It's like, coming to the battleground with a bullet of information and trying to get the customer hit. And what the customer does, he basically dodges. He doesn't want to get hit. He feels he will get hurt during the process. He may not take a decision that may be fruitful for all of them. So very simple. This process doesn't work. Information doesn't work. So where do we go now? We need to move on to a next level of sales that's called a transformational sales. When I talk about transformational sales, it clearly states that it's focused on the value creation. It's completely focused on your product and the services and what value it can create for the customer to take his life or impact his life or influence his life in a way which would be never before. And that's where the transactional salespeople cannot access. So a transformational salesperson looks at a customer as a part of his success journey. For all the rejections, for all the no's that he gets, he considers that as a journey of improvement and excellence. Whereas the transactional people are ready to move to the next customer before analyzing the real reasons of rejection. Sometimes they move into a customer and they want to bulldoze them with the product. Whereas a transformational individual would wait for the decision like the customer has made the real choice of moving with you. And that is when the sales do not backtrack. And that is when once the decision is made, the customer never, come back or takes his decision back. You know why? Because he feels he has made the decision of having that product or service with him or her. So that's what is transformational sales. Let me give you a very small framework very quickly which can help you succeed beyond the transactional sales. So the first point is I'm giving you a framework with the name of sales. And the first S stands for strive for productive and deep relationship. When I say strive, it means there is a lot of effort that is made to connect, communicate, understand and to engage the customer in a conversation which would help them to build a great relationship first. We love to buy from people whom we like. We love to buy from people whom we admire, adore, understand, connect, and we have something in common. So people look for common grounds to like individuals. That's what rapport building is. But I'm not going to deep dive into it because I've already covered the principles of connect with the INET approach, and that you can see that in my previous video. Now moving on, next is A. A stands for asking for needs. Asking, acknowledging for needs. And a lot of times what happens is when the customer says, I don't need this product, people say, how this can satisfy your need? Wrong. I need to ask, what is something that is not getting catered to with my product? What is something that you're looking for that does not exist in the current product or service? What is one thing that you would like to include and that would help you take a decision? What are a few parameters that you have set for yourself before you take a decision? What change would you like to bring into your life with this product or service? What few challenges or concerns you would like to solve when this product enters your life? When I ask such questions, ask. And the more you ask, and the asking happens at 4 levels, my dear friends. I'll make another video for that, but let me just give you a small framework. That's called CROP. And CROP means clarify, reflect, open, probe. And these are the 4 ways we ask questions, which I'll cover that in the next video for your convenience. Now moving on from ask. So what happens when we ask? When we ask the customer, he participates in the decision making. When we ask the customer, he indulges in the conversation. When we ask the customer, we come to know exactly what information I need to position where. Now let's say I'm selling a flat to a customer and for him it's an investment. So I need to completely focus on asking what kind of a return he is expecting from this investment. And then if I move him from a flat to an individual houses, looking at the back data or the past information, testimonials and the results, that can maybe influence the customer. And he can possibly take a decision from a flat to an individual house. I'm just giving a small example. So look at it from an ask perspective, and that's where most of the information lies. That's where most of the sales happen. When the customer opens up, you know what to do with it. Just like a diagnostic. Once you come to know where is the disease and what extent it has damaged the body and what part of the body needs to be impacted with the medicine, I know the right solution. So idea is to give a solution. A sales is a solution, right? So next is S and A are covered. Now it's time for L. L stands for listening. Now when I say listening, people just think about words, mind, body, soul. But let me tell you, this is called attentive listening. And when I say attentive listening, it's about your eyes. It's about you stop doing whatever you are doing when someone is in front of you. If you're looking at your phone, leave it. If there is a pen in your hand, keep it. If there is a thing in your mind, just ignore it. If there is a paper in front of you, use it, my dear friend. Yes, use it. So when I speak to any customer on a field visit or speak to any client, I would rather take notes from the discussion. And that's when the customer feels that my information, my opinions, my concerns are being taken seriously. And what I will do is I'll write few pointers from the discussion and I would use the crop technique of questioning back to clarify, to rephrase, to paraphrase, to reflect upon the understanding so that he feels he's being listened to. And the moment he feels listened to, he feels interested in the conversation. I'm going to bring in the game back into the deal by just mentioning few pointers that he would have mentioned during the conversation. And trust me, when I take his name continuously during the conversation, that also helps me in building a great relationship and keeping the conversation personalized. So if I know my name is Prince Glover, let's say I'm meeting a customer that is Rakesh Sharma. So during the conversation, I'll keep taking the name. So Mr. Rakesh, so Mr. Sharma, you were talking about this and that at that point of time. So when I talk to Rakesh, I would try to use his name. And when I use his name, suddenly all the attention faculties are towards me. And that is when my conversation is getting effective. And that is when the most of the listening is happening. So a great sales conversation has 30% of the representative talking and 70% is the customer talking. While if you look at the general sales conversations, you will see that the representative is loaded with bullets of information and he starts firing the moment he enters the room. And that's when half of the sale gets rejected. You know why? Because at the traffic lights, you love to avoid people who are trying to directly sell you. You ignore them through your windows of the car. I've seen people doing it. And in fact, I have done it. When people come to your door of the car and they ask you, to buy a pen, to buy an object, to buy a toy, to buy window shades or whatever the case may be, and you tend to ignore them by looking on the other side. You know why? Because they're directly trying to throw the things at you. They're directly using the little amount of time that they have before the light goes green, and they want to sell it on the spot, and that's when the connection fails, and that's when the power never transfers. Alright, so we are done with the L of the sales, which is listening, and that's deep listening, conscious listening, and written listening, and that's when the crop can be used amazingly. Next part is our E. When I say E definitely is energizing the conversation. Now what happens is we talk to the customers as if, let's say, it's our 10th sales call or it's our 12th or 15th sales call. But for that customer, it's the first sales call. And if I'm not able to energize and channelize his energy towards the conversation, it's very simple. It's a one-way street now. And when it's a one-way street, I don't want to participate in it. And if you're lower at energy, trust me, he's anyways down on energy. He's anyways down on energy for the reason that he has his own tasks, he has his own list of to-do list to perform. And now you're stepping in between with a small appointment and you need some time to talk about your product, information, yourself, and a lot of other things. Now he is already down on it. He always would like to see someone who's beaming with energy. You know why? Because everybody loves the rising sun. Everybody loves to see the light. Everybody loves to explore people who sound extremely energetic because they shift the energy of the customer to a great extent. So a transformational salesperson is extremely aware that without energy, no new achievements can be accomplished. Without energy, no new learning can happen. Without energy, no new conversation can take place. And you are talking about for the customer to change his existing product or service, let's say, to a new product or service, which purely means I need a new energy for him to shift. So if you don't have energy, there is nothing that can happen to that sales call. And that's why transformational people are beaming with energy and smiles, because for them, every customer, you remember, is a milestone for them, for their goals, for their destination, for their dreams, because every customer has to be a part of your success story. And that's where the journey of success can begin. Now the last part is S. So when I say S, when I've done all these things, engaged, asked, listened, and also I have listened to the customer very deeply, connected well, formed a great relationship, build the trust, and now it's time to build the satisfaction. And the satisfaction happens when I ask for feedback, not just for getting a yes or a no, to understand his experience from the conversation, from the product, from the features, from the solution alignment, from the customized options given. I am trying to understand, is he satisfied, or there are still few things that are left behind for me to answer. I'll ask him very openly, are there few questions or queries which I'm still left to answer? Do you think there are few things which are still more critical for you and it never came in our discussion before during the conversation? So when I go like this, so towards the end, I need to understand the satisfaction ratio. And you know how you can get that satisfaction ratio? It doesn't come to the words all the time. It also comes with the body language of the customer. It also comes with the expression on the face after the conversation. And if he feels engaged, enlightened, and feels that he should think about it or he should go about it, then that's the time for closure. My dear friends, I'll talk about the closure later. In the next video, I'll give you 6 beautiful techniques to close the sales. However, before that, just understand, if you have not completed these steps, the closing is just out of question. So 2 things need to happen before closing happens. One is the customer need to identify the problem, and he need to also see that your product or service is going to solve his concern. Then only he feels satisfied with the interaction, and that is when he is ready for the next step of closure. So we'll talk about closure later, but let's first complete the step of satisfaction. Let's get engaged in sales, but in the most transformational manner. And the transformation clearly means I see a value in every interaction, in every conversation. I derive meaning out of everything, because one customer is actually a nodal point for for the rest of the world. He's an endless possibility sitting in front of me, and am I exploring him completely with this framework? So try this, a sales framework. S, again, you know it, strive for relationship. A stands for ask and acknowledge. L stands for listen deeply. E stands to energize the conversation. S again, work for the satisfaction through feedback. Thank you very much, guys. If you feel this video was helpful and you used few of the techniques and you find a few results, I would be more than glad, because I would have contributed in some way to your life. And that's what the whole objective is, to reach up to millions. And my target is right now 1 million. Help me achieve it. Like, subscribe and share if you feel with you the rest of the world can also be benefited. Sharing is the highest responsibility. Let's execute it. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful sales day ahead.